Tonight, we descend beneath the waves to walk the golden streets of a lost civilization and witness the final tragic days of Atlantis. Come inside, away from the noise of the world. You are safe here, wrapped in the warmth of the library. If you wish to find your way back to this sanctuary another night, consider subscribing. It is the easiest way to return. Now, let your shoulders drop and settle in. The volume for this tale is waiting on the desk, heavy, bound in cracked sea-green leather, and smelling faintly of salt. Let us open the cover. Our story begins. Close your eyes. Let the heavy velvet curtains of the present moment fall away. Listen closely to the silence of the room you are in. Can you hear it? Underneath the hum of the modern world, underneath the beating of your own heart, there is a rhythm that has been playing since the dawn of time. It is a slow, deep breath, in and out. It is the breathing of the ocean. We are going to take a journey tonight, not through the sharp, bright lines of a map, but through the shifting, dark waters of memory. Before we find the lost city, before we walk the golden streets of Atlantis, we must first understand the water that hides it. We must understand the weight of the blue blanket that covers our world. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a shoreline at twilight. The sun has just dipped below the horizon, leaving a bruise of purple and deep indigo across the sky. The air is cool and smells of salt and drying kelp. It sticks to your skin, a fine, invisible mist that tastes like tears. You are standing on the edge of the known world, looking out into the vast, indifferent liquid that separates the lands of men. The ocean has a memory. It is older than the stone beneath your feet. It is older than the fire that warms our hearths. Think of the deep time involved here. Millions of years, a span of time so vast it breaks the mind to try and hold it. The water that laps gently against the toes of your boots is the same water that once covered the highest peaks of the mountains. It is the same water that rained down on forests of giant ferns where no bird had ever sung. It remembers. Every drop of water in the sea has been a cloud, a glacier, a river, a tear on a child's cheek, and blood in a vein. It cycles through existence, witnessing everything, forgetting nothing, but keeping its secrets buried in the crushing dark of the abyss. When we speak of Atlantis, we are speaking of a secret that the ocean has kept for thousands of years. But to find it, we must first enter the mindset of the ancients. We must strip away our satellites and our steel ships. We must look at the water with eyes that fear the gods. To the ancient mariners, the ocean was not a highway. It was a barrier. It was a chaotic, living entity that could swallow a ship whole and leave no trace. It was the realm of monsters and storms, a place where the laws of the earth did not apply. And the gateway to this terrifying realm stood tall and imposing at the very edge of their maps. Let us drift now, pushed by a gentle current, towards that gateway. The Pillars of Hercules. Today we know them as the Rock of Gibraltar and the Jebel Musa, standing guard at the narrow entrance where the Mediterranean Sea meets the Atlantic Ocean. But close your eyes and see them as they were then, two colossal sentinels of stone rising out of the mist. Imagine you are on the deck of a wooden ship. The wood is rough and weathered, smelling of pitch and tar. The sails above you are heavy canvas stained by the smoke of cooking fires and the salt spray. The ropes creak rhythmically as the ship rolls on the swell. You can hear the water slapping against the hull. Slap, slap, slap. A hypnotic sound that marks the passing of seconds. To your left, the southern pillar rises from the African coast. It is jagged, brown, and scorched by the sun. To your right, the northern pillar dominates the European sky. It is a massive monolith of limestone, grey and white, scarred by the wind. Between them lies the strait. The water here is turbulent. Can you feel the change in the movement of the ship? The gentle lull of the enclosed sea gives way to a longer, deeper heave. This is the pulse of the ocean. The currents here are strong, rushing in from the Atlantic, bringing with them cold water from the deep. The air changes here too. It becomes fresher, sharper. The smell of land fades, replaced by the clean metallic scent of the open sea. It smells of ozone and immense distance. Passing the Pillars of Hercules was not just a physical act for the ancients. It was a spiritual transgression. It was stepping off the edge of the world. Beyond these pillars the maps stopped. The ink faded into blank parchment. There were only warnings written in the margins. Here be dragons, the sea of darkness. Feel the anxiety in the pit of your stomach as the shadow of the great rock falls over the ship. It is cooler in the shadows. The sound of the wind picks up, whistling through the rigging, a high, lonely note that sounds like a warning. The sailors around you are silent. They do not speak. They clutch amulets of bone and bronze, whispering prayers to Poseidon, to Oceanus, to any god who might listen. They are trespassers here. The water beneath the keel deepens. We are leaving the continental shelf. The turquoise and green of the shallows bleed away, replaced by a blue so dark it is almost black. It is the colour of ink. It is the colour of the void. Look down over the railing. The water is clear yet impenetrable. You can see shafts of light piercing the surface, dancing and fading as they reach down, down, down into the gloom. But they do not reach the bottom. There is no bottom here, only the endless cold embrace of the deep. As we clear the strait, the Pillars of Hercules recede behind us. They become silhouettes against the rising moon, shrinking until they are nothing more than uneven teeth on the horizon, and then they are gone. We are alone. Turn your face forward now. Look west. This is the Atlantic, the ocean of Atlas. In the time before Columbus, before the Vikings, before the great navigators, this was the ultimate mystery. It stretches out before us, a vast, undulating sheet of liquid glass. The panic of the strait fades, replaced by a profound, heavy calm. It is a strange paradox. The ocean is terrifying in its size, yet sitting here, drifting on the gentle swells, it is the most peaceful place in the universe. The chaos of the land is gone. There are no wars here, no kings, no shouting in the market, no dust, no fire. There is only the sky above and the water below, mirrored perfectly in a sphere of blue. Let the sensory details of this calm wash over you. The soundscape is minimal. It is a library of whispers. The primary sound is the water itself. Listen to the way it interacts with the wood of the ship. It gurgles softly. It hisses as bubbles rise and pop on the surface. Occasionally a wave will slap the side of the vessel with a hollow thud, sending a vibration up through the soles of your feet. The wind here is steady. It does not gust or howl. It pushes with a constant firm pressure, like a giant invisible hand. It cools the sweat on your brow. It ruffles the hair on your arms. Look at the surface of the water. In this calm, under the light of a high, pale moon, the ocean looks like hammered silver. It ripples and undulates, moving like the skin of a sleeping beast. It is mesmerizing. If you stare at it too long, you lose the sense of where the water ends and the sky begins. The horizon is a perfect circle, a razor-sharp line dividing the world in two, 360 degrees of nothingness. It is in this vastness that the mind begins to wander. It is here, staring into the green sea of darkness, that humanity began to dream of what lay beyond. We could not accept that this was simply endless water. Our minds demand patterns. We demand stories. And so, in the silence of the Atlantic calm, we hallucinated islands. We saw mirages in the clouds that hugged the horizon. We saw cities of gold in the way the sunset hit the storm fronts. We populated the emptiness with our hopes and our fears. Somewhere out there, we told ourselves, past the point where the stars touch the sea, there is land, a land of eternal spring, a land where the gods walk among men. The Fortunate Isles, Avalon, Antilia, and the greatest of them all, Atlantis. Can you feel the anticipation? It hangs in the humid air. The ship drifts forward, carried by the deep currents, moving closer to a memory that has been erased from the earth but preserved in the water. Night falls fully now. The blue turns to obsidian. The moon climbs higher, casting a path of white light across the waves. It looks like a road made of light beckoning us to follow. The stars emerge, not the dim, hazy stars we see from our cities today. These are the ancient stars. They burn with a fierce, cold intensity. The Milky Way is a slash of diamond dust across the darkness. The constellations wheel overhead, silent witnesses to our voyage. It is cold now, a damp cold that settles into your bones. You wrap your cloak tighter around your shoulders. The wool is scratchy and warm. You can smell the lanolin in the fabric mixed with the pervasive brine. There is a splashing sound in the distance, a pod of dolphins, a whale surfacing to breathe, or something else. The ocean hides its inhabitants well. We are suspended in a void of water and time. We are floating over mountains that have never seen the sun. We are drifting over valleys deeper than the Grand Canyon, shrouded in eternal night. And down there, in the crushing dark, in the silence that rings in your ears, lies the truth. The ocean keeps its secrets, but it does not destroy them. It swallows them. It encases them in silt and pressure. It holds them in its cold, wet hands, waiting for someone to come and listen. We are listening now. Feel the gentle rocking of the boat. It is a cradle, back and forth, lulling you into a trance. The fear of the unknown melts away, replaced by a deep, drowsy curiosity. We have passed the gates. We have left the world of men behind. We are alone with the ocean's memory. The silence is thick. It presses against your ears. But it is not empty. It is waiting. It is pregnant with a story that has been whispering in the foam of the waves for 12,000 years. Take a deep breath of the salt air. Taste the history on your tongue. The water is calm. The path is open. The library is unlocked. We are ready to descend. In the next moments, we will dive beneath this silver surface. We will leave the starlight behind. We will go down into the pressure and the dark, to brush the sand off stones that were once shaped by human hands. But for now, just drift. Drift in the vast, beautiful, terrifying calm of the Atlantic. Let the rhythm of the swell match the rhythm of your breathing, in and out. The ocean remembers, and tonight it will share its memory with you. The mist that clings to the surface of the Atlantic begins to thin. It does not break apart violently, but rather dissolves, fading like breath on a cold window pane. The grey veil lifts, revealing the impossible. We are no longer looking at the endless flat horizon. We are looking down. Shift your perspective. Imagine we are floating, weightless, suspended in the cool salt air, high above the water. We are looking down at the jewel of the ocean. At first, your mind struggles to comprehend the shape. Nature, in its wild and chaotic beauty, rarely draws straight lines or perfect circles. Nature creates jagged coastlines, wandering rivers, and broken cliffs. But this is geometry. This is an order imposed upon the chaos of the sea. Below us lies the great metropolis of Atlantis. It is a series of perfect concentric rings. A bullseye painted on the face of the deep. Look closely at the structure. It is a ripple frozen in stone. 3 rings of water, 2 rings of land. They alternate with a precision that speaks of a mind far greater than any we know today. The outer ring of water is vast. It acts as a moat, a shimmering shield of liquid blue that separates the sacred city from the rest of the weary world. The water here is calm, protected from the ocean's heave. It is a deep turquoise mirror reflecting the passing clouds. Inside that, a ring of land, a perfect circle of earth. Even from this height you can see the lushness of it. It is not brown or dry. It is a vibrant, verdant green. It smells of rich, dark soil turned by the spade. It smells of blooming gardens where flowers with no names grow in abundance. You can see the trees, tiny from this height, swaying in unison. They are heavy with fruit, bowing their branches in a silent offering. Then another ring of water, smaller this time, more intimate, and another ring of land. And finally, the center, the sacred island, the heart of the empire. It is hypnotic to look at. Round and round your eye travels, tracing the loops. There is a soothing rhythm to the architecture. Water, land, water, land, water, heart. It feels like meditation. It feels like a mandala carved into the crust of the earth. The colors of the city begin to reveal themselves as we drift lower. It is not just grey stone. The builders of this place used the bones of the island itself. They quarried stone of 3 colors, white, black, and red. Imagine the contrast, the blinding white of limestone catching the noon sun, the brooding black of volcanic basalt absorbing the heat and holding the shadows, the deep rusty red of iron-rich rock looking like dried blood or autumn leaves. They wove these colors together in the walls and the towers, a stripe of white, a stripe of black, a stripe of red. It pleases the eye. It feels festive and solemn all at once. It creates a vibration of color that hums against the blue of the water. And there is something else, something that catches the light and throws it back with a fiery glow. The walls of the citadel are not just stone. They are coated in metal. Brass that shines like a trumpet note, tin that gleams like moonlight, and the inner wall, the one guarding the very center, It flashes with a light like fire. Orichalcum, the red metal. It glows with its own inner warmth. It looks warm to the touch, like a living thing. From our vantage point in the sky, the city looks like a precious ornament dropped by a god. It is silent from up here. The only sound is the wind rushing past your ears, a soft, hollow roar. But we must go closer. We must follow the path of the water. Look to the south. Do you see it? A dark, straight line cutting through the rings. This is the Great Canal. It is the artery that connects the beating heart of the city to the veins of the open ocean. It is an engineering marvel that defies the primitive. Tools of the age. Let us descend. We glide down, smooth as a falling leaf, until we are hovering just above the surface of this canal. The scale changes instantly. From the sky it looked like a thin scratch. Down here it is a canyon. The canal is 300 feet wide. It is a massive avenue of water. Deep, incredibly deep. The water here is darker than the sea outside. It is a navy blue, shadowed by the high walls on either side. Reach out your hand in your mind. Run your fingertips along the stone walls of the canal. They are cold, damp. They are slick with moss and algae near the waterline. But higher up, the stone is smooth, perfectly cut. There is no mortar here. The blocks of red and black stone are fitted together so tightly that you could not slide a knife blade between them. The air inside the canal is different. It is still. The wind from the ocean passes overhead, leaving the air down here heavy and quiet. It smells of wet stone and enclosed water. It echoes. Listen. The lap of water against the rock walls. Splash, hiss, splash. It echoes down the length of the channel, bouncing back and forth, multiplying until it sounds like a choir of whispers. We are moving forward now, floating inward along this great liquid road. We pass under bridges, massive arches of stone that connect the rings of land. As we pass beneath them, the light dims. For a moment, we are in the cool shadow of the arch. The sound of the water changes, becoming deeper, more resonant. Then we emerge back into the sunlight. The sensation is one of being swallowed. We are entering the belly of the beast. We are travelling deep into the protection of the concentric circles. The canal is the throat of Atlantis. It is through here that the wealth of the world flows. Gold, ivory, silver, spices. It all floats down this quiet, dark corridor of water. And now the canal opens up. The walls widen. The shadows retreat. We have arrived at the harbour. This is not a chaotic, messy port. This is a place of profound order and majestic stillness. The harbour is cut into the rings of stone. It is a deep, sheltered basin where the water is as flat as a pane of glass. And here, resting in the silence, are the ships, hundreds of them, a forest of masts rising into the air. They stand tall and straight, like stripped pine trees, creating a complex web of rigging against the sky. These are not small fishing boats. These are the triremes, the masters of the ancient waves. Drift closer to the nearest one. Hover right beside its hull. The wood is dark and rich. Cedar from the mountains of Lebanon. Oak from the ancient forests of Europe. You can smell it. A deep resinous scent that mixes with the smell of tar and pitch. The sun has warmed the wood, releasing its perfume. The hull is smooth, painted with eyes at the bow to see through the mist. The wood creaks softly, a low groan of timber settling against timber. It is the sound of a sleeping giant shifting in its bed. Look up at the air. Sails. They are furled now, rolled tight against the yards. They are not white. They are dyed in the colours of wealth. Deep royal purple, extracted from thousands of sea snails. Crimson red, midnight black. Even rolled up, they look heavy. You can imagine the sound they would make if they were unfurled, the thunderous snap of heavy canvas catching the wind. But now they are silent. The ropes that hold the rigging are thick and rough, hemp and flax. They are coiled perfectly on the decks. Everything is in its place. There is no clutter. The ships are docked in rows side by side, their wooden flanks almost touching. Between them, the dark water sits motionless, covered in a thin film of oil and dust. There is a sense of dormant power here. These ships are resting beasts. They have travelled to lands that are not yet on any map. They have seen the ice of the north and the jungles of the south. They have carried kings and soldiers, priests and merchants. But in this moment, in the quiet of the harbour, they are just wood and rope and cloth. Walk in your mind along the stone quay. Your footsteps make no sound. The stone beneath your feet is warm, baked by the sun. You pass piles of goods that have been unloaded, waiting to be moved, bales of raw silk that shimmer in the light, crates of spices that tickle your nose with the scent of cinnamon and cloves, bars of copper and tin stacked like bricks. But there are no voices, no shouting stevedores, no haggling merchants. The silence of the memory prevails. It is a ghost harbour, a moment frozen in time just before the fall. The water laps gently against the pilings. Slap, slap. A gull cries out overhead, a lonely, piercing sound that echoes off the warehouse walls. The reflection of the ships in the water is perfect. You can see every rope, every plank mirrored in the dark depths below. It creates a dizzying illusion. Which way is up? Are the ships floating on water, or are they suspended in a void? The geometry of the city surrounds you here. The curve of the harbour wall follows the curve of the canal, which follows the curve of the rings. Everything is part of the great circle. Every stone is placed to remind you that you are part of a cycle. The sun is high now. The shadows are short. The heat radiates off the black stone stripes of the buildings, creating a shimmering haze. The air is thick and drowsy. You can feel the weight of the history here, the sheer mass of the stone, the depth of the water, the height of the masts. It feels permanent. It feels eternal. Standing here, surrounded by the smell of cedar and salt, looking at the silent fleet, it is impossible to imagine that this could ever end. The engineering is too perfect. The walls are too thick. The geometry is too divine. The ships rock imperceptibly, a tiny motion, a nod to the ocean that waits outside the rings. They are waiting, waiting for the command to unfurl the purple sails, waiting to cut through the concentric rings down the long canal and back out into the wild Atlantic. But for now they sleep, and we watch them. We stand in the shadow of the great hulls, breathing in the scent of the empire. The concentric rings hold us in their embrace, safe, enclosed, protected. Or so it seems. Let the image of the silent harbour settle in your mind. The dark wood, the coloured sails, the still water, the perfect circles. Hold this moment of peace. Hold the geometry of utopia in your thoughts, for the water that cradles these ships is the same water that will one day rise. But not yet. Now there is only the gentle creak of the wood and the silence. Step from the wooden deck of the ship onto the solid ground. Can you feel the change? The gentle swaying of the water is gone, replaced by the unyielding firmness of the earth. But this is not just earth. This is art. We are walking now into the heart of the city, away from the harbour, moving inward through the great rings of land. And as we walk, look at the walls that rise up on either side of us. Look at the ground beneath your feet. The architecture of Atlantis is not merely functional, it is a language, and the words of this language are written in stone. The ancients did not paint their buildings with pigments that would fade in the salt air. They painted with the rock itself. They dug into the ribs of their island and pulled out 3 distinct colours of stone: white, black, and red. Imagine standing before a massive wall. Reach out your hand, place your palm flat against the surface. First, touch the white stone. It is limestone, quarried from the high cliffs where the seabirds nest. It is smooth, almost silky to the touch. It feels cool, even in the heat of the midday sun. It holds the memory of the ocean floor from millions of years ago, a compressed history of shells and calcium. In the sunlight it is blinding. It reflects the brilliance of the day, making the streets feel open and airy. It represents the light, the foam of the sea, the purity of the mind. Now, slide your hand down to the next course of masonry. The texture changes instantly. This is the black stone, basalt, lava rock. It was born in the fire of the volcanoes that simmer beneath the ocean crust. It is porous, filled with tiny microscopic holes where gas bubbles once trapped themselves in the cooling magma. It feels rougher, like a heavy grit sandpaper, and it is warm. It drinks the sunlight. It absorbs the heat of the day and holds it, radiating a gentle warmth long after the sun has set. It represents the depth, the abyss, the fertile earth. And finally, the red stone. It is a deep, rich ochre, the colour of dried blood, the colour of autumn leaves, the colour of iron rusting in the damp air. It is heavy and dense. When you tap your knuckles against it, it does not ring. It thuds. It feels grounded, solid. It represents the blood of the people, the clay of creation, the vitality of life. The builders of Atlantis took these 3 stones and wove them together. Look up at the facade of the building before you. It is a striped tapestry of geology, a layer of white, a layer of black, a layer of red. The effect is mesmerizing. It creates a visual rhythm: white, black, red, white, black, red. As you walk down the street, the stripes seem to move in your peripheral vision. They vibrate. The city feels like it is humming. It is a bold aesthetic. It is not the bleached white minimalism we often associate with antiquity. It is tribal. It is raw. It is a celebration of the island's natural body. The air in these streets smells of stone. There is a dusty, mineral scent that mixes with the salt air. It smells of flint and spark. Listen to the sound of the city. The stone changes the acoustics. In a city of wood, sound is absorbed. In a city of stone, it bounces. The clip-clop of a donkey's hooves echoes sharply. The soft slap of leather sandals is amplified. Even the whisper of a silk robe against a wall carries a texture. We move deeper. Now. We cross the first ring of land, cross the bridge over the smaller waterway, and step onto the second ring. The buildings here are taller, more ornate, and ahead of us, glowing in the twilight, is the wonder of the ancient world. The wall of orichalcum, the innermost circle, the citadel where the kings reside, and the temple of Poseidon stands, is surrounded by a wall of solid metal. Orichalcum. The word itself feels mysterious on the tongue. Mountain copper, the red metal. We have lost the secret of its making. Some say it was an alloy of copper and gold. Others say it was a natural metal mined from the roots of the volcano, now exhausted and gone from the world. But here, in the memory of the ocean, it still stands. Approach it slowly. The sun is beginning to set behind us, but the street ahead is getting brighter. The wall is not merely reflective. It seems to possess its own internal light source. It glows with a fiery, ruddy luminescence. It is the colour of a dying ember, or the heavy orange moon of the harvest. As you get closer, you can feel the heat coming off it. Not a burning heat, but a comforting, living warmth, like standing next to a large animal. The entire wall is plated with this metal, sheets of it, beaten smooth, riveted together with bolts of the same fiery substance. Look at your own skin in the light of the wall. Your hands look flushed. The air around you is tinted with this warm amber haze. In Atlantis, they do not need torches to light the inner circle. The wall acts as a perpetual sunset. Even in the dead of night, the citadel is bathed in this soft, mystical glow. It chases away the shadows. It turns the night into a dreamscape of copper and bronze. Touch the metal. It is smooth, polished by the wind and the hands of 1,000 passers-by. It vibrates slightly against your fingertips. It hums with a low frequency, a resonance that you feel in your teeth. It is beautiful, yes, but it is also a display of unimaginable wealth. To clad an entire city wall in precious metal. It speaks of an empire that has conquered scarcity. It speaks of people who have turned their resources into light. Turn away from the glow for a moment and look at the path we must take to enter. The bridges. To get from the outer rings to the centre, we must cross the waterways. The engineers of Atlantis spanned these gaps with bridges of immense strength. They are massive arches of stone, red, black and white blocks soaring over the dark water of the canals below. Walk onto the bridge. The roadway is wide, paved with smooth flagstones. On either side, there are high walls to protect you from the wind. But look at the gateways. At the entrance to each bridge there are towers, and between the towers, gates of bronze. These are not the rusty, creaking gates of a decaying castle. These are precision instruments. The bronze is polished to a mirror shine. The hinges are oiled. The counterweights are balanced so perfectly that a single guard could push the massive doors shut with one hand. Stand under the arch of the gatehouse. It is cool here in the shadow of the stone. Look up. There is a murder hole in the ceiling, a dark square where defenders could drop stones or fire. But there is no fear here. Look at the guards. They stand motionless, spears resting easily against their shoulders. They wear armour of leather and bronze scales. Their faces are calm. They do not scan the crowd with suspicion. They watch with the quiet confidence of men who know they are invincible. There is a profound sense of safety here, absolute, unshakable safety. The bridges and the gates convey a message. You are held. You are protected. Outside the rings, the ocean is wild. Storms rage, monsters swim in the deep, barbarians roam the forests of the continents. But here, inside the rings, inside the gates, you are in the womb of civilization. Nothing can hurt you here. The geometry protects you. The stone protects you. The metal protects you. Walk across the bridge. Listen to the hollow sound of your footsteps over the water. Look over the parapet. Far below, you can see the reflection of the orichalcum wall in the dark canal. A streak of fire in the water. It feels permanent. The stone is so heavy. The metal is so thick. The gates are so strong. It feels as though this city has stood for eternity and will stand for eternity more. The architecture lulls you into this belief. It whispers to you that strength is permanence. It whispers that walls can keep out the future. Run your hand along the railing of the bridge. The stone is worn smooth by centuries of hands. Hands of fathers holding up their children to see the ships. Hands of lovers leaning together in the twilight. Feel the continuity of it. The connection to the past. We pass through the final gate. The shadow of the arch gives way to the warm amber bath of the orichalcum light. We are in the inner circle now. The sanctuary. The air here is still. The sounds of the harbour are miles away. There is only the hum of the red metal and the soft shuffle of sandals on stone. Take a deep breath. Smell the incense drifting from the temples ahead. Smell the metallic tang of the walls. You are safe. You are home. The stone and the metal have created a perfect world, a world of order, a world of light. But remember the ocean. Remember the water that flows beneath the bridge you just crossed. The stone is strong, the metal is precious, but water is patient. For now, though, let us bask in the glow. Let us walk in the safety of the red light. Let us marvel at the work of human hands, defiant against the wild world. Close your eyes and see the stripes of colour. White, black, red. See the glow of the orichalcum. Feel the solid stone beneath your feet. This is the pinnacle. This is the height of the dream. Just breathe. Leave the glowing warmth of the orichalcum wall behind you. Turn your back on the geometric perfection of the stone streets and the metal gates. We are moving inward, deeper into the sanctuary, but we are also moving back to the source. Before the stone was cut, before the metal was mined, there was the land. We are entering the gardens of Poseidon. The air changes instantly. The dry, metallic heat of the city streets gives way to something softer, something heavier. The air here is thick with moisture and the perfume of 10,000 living things. It kisses your skin with a humid embrace. It settles in your lungs, rich and oxygenated, smelling of wet earth and crushed leaves. In the centre of the great metropolis, the ancients preserved a paradise. Look around you. This is not a manicured park with trimmed hedges and do not walk signs. This is an explosion of life. It is a controlled jungle, a celebration of the island's terrifying fertility. Plato told us of this. He whispered of a land so rich that it provided everything a human being could need without toil. There was no hunger here. There was only the utopian, reaching out of a hand and the taking of a gift. Walk slowly beneath the canopy of trees. They are ancient giants, their roots knobby and thick, snaking over the ground like sleeping pythons. Their branches interlock high above, creating a ceiling of translucent green. The sunlight filters through the leaves, dappling the forest floor in a shifting mosaic of gold and shadow, and hanging from these boughs is the treasure of Atlantis, fruits of every shape and colour. Some you would recognize, the heavy purple clusters of grapes dusted with a white bloom, bursting with sweet dark juice, pomegranates that have split open in the heat, revealing their ruby seeds like spilled jewels. But there are others here, fruits that have been lost to time. Imagine a fruit the size of a melon, with a skin like blue velvet. Imagine a pear that glows with a faint bioluminescence in the shade, tasting of honey and wintergreen. Reach up in your mind, pluck one. The skin is cool and smooth, it is heavy in your hand. Break it open. The smell that releases is intoxicating. It is floral, sweet, and sharp all at once. The juice runs over your fingers, sticky and warm. Because of this abundance, there is a profound peace here. In the rest of the world, animals and men fight for resources. They starve, they hunt. But here, the earth gives so much that there is no need for aggression. And moving through this green cathedral are the gentle giants of the island. Look through the mist that clings to the ferns. Do you see the grey shapes moving slowly between the tree trunks? Elephants. They were here, on this island, isolated from the continents. But these are not the nervous, hunted creatures of the modern savannah. These are the gardeners of Poseidon. They are smaller than the African elephants we know, adapted to island life. Their skin is dark grey, wrinkled deeply like the maps of the ocean floor. Their tusks are long and curved, stained yellow by the sap of the trees. Watch one of them as it approaches. It moves with a silence that belies its weight. Its large, padded feet engage with the soft soil, cushioning every step. There is no thud, just a soft, rhythmic crump. Crump, crump. It extends its trunk, a muscular, sensitive finger, and plucks a branch of leaves. It chews slowly, its eyes half closed, long dark lashes resting against its cheek. It looks at you. There is no fear in its gaze, only a deep, ancient intelligence. It exhales a long breath, a warm gust of air that smells of hay and musk. It is surreal to see them here, framed by the white and black architecture in the distance, the wild and the civilized, living in perfect harmony. The elephant rumbles, a low-frequency sound that you feel in your chest more than you hear. It is a purr, a vibration of contentment. Let us leave the giants to their grazing and follow the sound of water, not the ocean this time. We are far from the crashing waves. This is a different water. Can you hear it? It is a duality of sound. On one side, a sharp, crisp trickling. On the other, a deep, bubbling hiss. These are the twin springs, the gift of the god to his mortal love. The legend says that when Poseidon claimed this hill, he struck the ground and brought forth two fountains, one of cold water, one of hot. We are standing now at the edge of the basins where these waters are captured. The engineering is elegant and simple. Stone channels guide the water from the rock face into large circular pools. Approach the cold spring first. The water here is crystal clear. It is so transparent that it looks invisible until a drop disturbs the surface. It bubbles up from the deep earth, filtered through miles of limestone. Dip your hand in. It is shocking, an icy bite that makes your skin tingle. It is the cold of the deep ocean, brought up to the light. It numbs your fingers in seconds. The sound it makes is high-pitched, musical. Tink, tink, splash. It sounds like glass breaking gently. Now, turn to the hot. Spring. You can feel it before you see it. A wave of humid heat rolls over you. Steam rises from the surface of the basin, twisting and curling into the cool air like dancing spirits. The water here is different. It is slightly milky, rich with minerals from the volcanic heart of the island. It smells faintly of sulphur and wet stone. It is the smell of the Earth's boiler room. The sound is lower, a glug and a churn. The water boils up with enthusiasm, agitated and alive. The Atlanteans, in their wisdom, did not just let this run to waste. Look at how the channels merge. They created a bathhouse here in the open air. The icy water and the boiling water mix in a third basin, swirling together to create a perfect temperate warmth. Imagine sinking into that water. Your body is suspended in the liquid history of the island. The steam rises around your face, blurring the world, softening the edges of reality. You are floating between the fire below and the sun above. It is quiet here. Only sound is the water, the ceaseless, eternal flow. It has been flowing since the island rose from the sea, and it flows still in the memory of the world. Dry yourself off in the warm breeze and let us walk further, deeper into the green. We are entering the arboretum. This is the most protected part of the gardens. The high walls of the citadel block the trade winds that scour the outer rings. Inside here, the air is still. It is a pocket of eternal calm. The humidity rises. You can feel the moisture collecting on your brow. Your clothes cling slightly to your skin. It is a lush vertical world. Because there is no wind to knock them down, the plants here grow to impossible heights. Ferns as tall as trees unfurl their fiddleheads, covered in soft brown fuzz. Moss covers everything. It carpets the stones, it climbs the trunks of the trees, it hangs in long bearded drapes from the branches. Touch the moss. It is soft as velvet, damp and cool. If you press your finger into it, water wells up around the indentation. It is a living sponge. The light here is green, a deep, subaquatic green. The leaves are so thick that they filter out the harshness of the sun. It feels like twilight even at noon. Walking through the arboretum is like walking through a dream. The path is soft, covered in layers of decaying leaves that have turned into rich black peat. Your footsteps are silent. Everywhere you look, there is water. Not flowing in channels now, but dripping. Condensation collects on the broad, waxy leaves of the tropical plants. It gathers in heavy droplets. Watch one. It grows heavy, trembling on the tip of a leaf, catching a stray beam of light. Then it falls. Plip. It hits a pool of water below. Ripples spread out, disturbing the reflection of the flowers. And oh, the flowers! In this sheltered heat, they bloom with abandon. Orchids with faces like dragons, lilies that smell of vanilla and rot, vines that strangle the trees with bursts of neon blue and scarlet, trumpet flowers. The scent is overwhelming. It is a heavy, narcotic perfume. It makes your eyelids heavy. It makes you want to lie down on the soft moss and sleep for 1,000 years. There are no birds singing here. The canopy is too thick. The silence is profound. It is a heavy, waiting silence. You are wrapped in the lungs of the planet. This is the secret of Atlantis. We think of it as a city of technology, of metal and stone. But at its heart, it was a garden. It was a place where humanity remembered that we are not separate from the earth. The hot spring warms the roots, the cold spring waters the leaves, the elephants prune the branches, and the people walk in silence, breathing in the oxygen of a perfect world. Stand still for a moment. Stop moving. Feel the dampness on your cheek. Smell the sweet rot of the jungle floor. Listen to the drip, drip, drip of the water. The city outside is a fortress, but here, inside, it is a womb. It is vulnerable. It is soft. It is the most beautiful thing that has ever existed. And looking at the fragile petals of an orchid, trembling under the weight of a single drop of water, you realize how easily it could all be bruised, how easily it could be washed away. But for now, the walls hold back the wind. For now, the springs flow. For now, the garden blooms in the eternal summer of memory. Take one last look at the green twilight. We must leave the garden soon. We must go to the people. But carry this stillness with you. Carry the scent of the rain and the earth, in and out. The breath of the garden is the breath of life. We have walked the stone streets. We have touched the cold metal of the walls. We have breathed the humid air of the gardens. But a city is more than its bricks and its trees. A city is a vessel for the soul of its people. To understand Atlantis, to truly feel the weight of what was lost, we must look into the faces of those who walked these concentric rings. We must understand the rhythm of their lives. Imagine stepping out from the shadow of the great archways into the soft, golden light of the late afternoon. The sun is beginning its slow descent, bathing the city in a honey-coloured glow that softens the sharp edges of the architecture. And there, moving through the light, are the people. The first thing you notice is the silence of their movement. In our world, a crowd is a chaotic, noisy thing. It is a clash of hurried bodies, of shoulders bumping, of feet stomping on pavement. But here the crowd moves like a river. It flows. The Atlanteans do not rush. Why would they? They have mastered the tides. They have harvested the abundance of the earth. The anxiety of survival that plagues the rest of the human race has been bred out of them. Watch a man walking towards you. He is tall. The ancient legends speak of them as giants, but perhaps it is just their posture. He stands with his spine aligned perfectly with the gravity of the earth. His head is high, his gaze level. There is no tension in his neck, no furrow in his brow. He wears robes of unbleached linen, the colour of sand. They are simple garments wrapped artfully around the body, held in place by a belt of woven leather, or perhaps a clasp of copper. The fabric is light. It catches the gentle sea breeze fluttering softly around his ankles. Listen to the sound of the clothing. Swish, swish, rustle. It is a soft, friction-filled whisper that accompanies every step. The women move with the same deliberate grace. They wear silks dyed in the colours of the sea, pale aqua, deep indigo, seafoam green. Their hair is braided in complex patterns, woven with threads of gold or adorned with pearls harvested from the deep lagoon. When they pass each other, there is no collision. There is a nod, a hand placed gently on a shoulder, a smile that reaches the eyes. And oh, the eyes! If you could look into the eyes of an Atlantean, you would see a profound calm. It is the look of a sailor who knows the ocean is deep, but trusts his ship. It is an unshakable confidence. They do not look through you, distracted by the next task on their list. They look at you. They are entirely present in the moment. Walk with them now. fall into step with their slow, hypnotic rhythm. Left, right, left, right. There is nowhere to be. There is only here. We are drifting towards the centre of the commercial district. In any other city in history, the marketplace is a cacophony. It is a place of shouting merchants, haggling customers, barking dogs, and the clatter of carts. But this is the Agora of Atlantis. It is a large circular plaza, paved with the same black and white stones, polished to a shine. Overhead, awnings of heavy canvas stretch between tall pillars, filtering the sun and casting cool geometric shadows on the ground. Close your eyes and smell the air. This is not the smell of butchery or rot. This is a symphony of scent. It hits you in waves, rolling over you like the tide. The primary note is spice. Sacks of cinnamon bark, curled tight like scrolls of ancient paper, piled high in woven baskets. Their dust hangs in the air, warm and dry, tickling the back of your throat. Star anise, smelling of licorice and mystery. Cloves, sharp and numbing, and underneath the spice the heavy sweet scent of incense, frankincense tears, golden and resinous, melting on small charcoal braziers, myrrh with its dark earthy perfume. The smoke drifts through the marketplace in thin blue ribbons, curling around the pillars, scenting the hair and clothes of the passers-by. There are perfumes here too, precious oils trapped in jars of translucent alabaster, rose oil from the gardens, sandalwood brought from the Far East, ambergris gathered from the shores. The merchants sit quietly behind their wares. They do not shout their prices. They do not grab at your sleeve. They sit on cushions, their hands resting on their knees. When you approach a stall, they greet you with a soft murmur. The transactions, a ritual. Imagine picking up a bolt of silk. The fabric is cool to the touch, slipping through your fingers like water. You can hear the threads whispering against each other. The merchant watches you, appreciating your appreciation. There is no haggling. The value of things is known. A coin of gold, heavy and stamped with the trident of Poseidon, is placed on a wooden counter. A polite nod. The item is wrapped in paper. The soundscape of the market is a low, constant hum. It is the sound of hushed conversations, the clinking of ceramic cups as friends share a drink of wine diluted with spring water, the soft thud of ripe melons being stacked, the chime of a brass wind catcher turning slowly in the breeze. It is a library of commerce, a place where the act of trading is treated with dignity. Wander deeper into the plaza. There are artisans here at work. Watch a goldsmith. He is working with a small hammer and a thin sheet of metal. Tap, tap, tap. The sound is delicate, rhythmic. He is not rushing to finish. He is lost in the flow of the creation. He is shaping a necklace that mimics the leaves of the sea kelp. He works with a focus that shuts out the world. Watch a potter turning a wheel with her foot. The wet clay rises between her fingers, spinning, growing, forming a perfect vessel. The sound of the wet earth sliding against skin. Slap, whir. Everything here is made by hand. Everything has a soul. As you walk through this quiet, scented crowd, you begin to feel something else, something abstract but palpable. It is the feeling of a society at its peak. Have you ever sat in a garden in late summer when the fruit is heavy on the bough and the sun is hot and the air is full of buzzing insects? There is a feeling of fullness, a feeling that the season has reached its absolute maximum expression. That is the atmosphere of Atlantis. This is a civilization that has solved the problems of existence. They have mapped the stars. They know the cycles of the moon and how it pulls the tides. They have engineered the water and the stone. They have created a society of laws that are just and fair. There is a sense of immense intellectual weight in the air. You can see it in the groups of people gathering near the fountains. They are not gossiping, they are debating. Listen to the cadence of their voices. It is melodic, thoughtful. They are discussing the nature of the soul, the geometry of the universe, the ethics of power. They are a people who have the luxury of time. Because they are not starving, because they are not at war, they can turn their minds to the infinite. There is a library nearby. You can smell the parchment and the dust of crushed minerals used for ink. It is open to the air. Scholars sit at long tables, unrolling scrolls that contain the history of the world before the flood. They trace the lines of maps that show continents we have forgotten. This feeling of knowledge is intoxicating. It feels safe. It feels like the world makes sense. It feels like humanity has finally grown up. Standing here, surrounded by the scent of cinnamon and the soft rustle of linen, you feel a profound sense of optimism. You feel that this perfection is the destiny of our species. But there is a shadow to this light. A peak, by definition, is a point from which you can only go down. There is a subtle arrogance in the calm of the Atlanteans. Look closely at the way they walk. There is a presumption of eternity in their stride. They believe they have mastered the earth. They believe they have tamed the ocean. They have forgotten the chaos. They are so comfortable in their robes, so secure in their walled rings, so delighted by their own wisdom, that they have stopped watching the horizon with fear. They have replaced awe with understanding, and in doing so, they have become complacent. The sun dips lower. The shadows stretch out long and thin across the plaza. The golden light turns to a deep, burnished copper. The market begins to close. The merchants pack their wares away in boxes of cedar wood. The scent of the incense fades slightly, replaced by the cooling air of the evening. The people begin to drift towards their homes. The hum of the crowd lowers in volume until it is just a whisper. You are left standing in the emptying square. The silence returns. But it is not an empty silence. It is a silence filled with the echo of a golden age. It is the silence of a held breath. The Atlanteans go to their beds, lying down on sheets of fine linen, their heads filled with poetry and mathematics. They sleep the deep, dreamless sleep of the righteous. They do not know that the ground beneath them is shifting. They do not hear the groaning of the tectonic plates deep in the black rock. They only hear the gentle wind in the wind catchers. They only smell the lingering perfume of the day. This atmosphere, this heavy, sweet, intoxicating air of absolute civilization, breathe it in while you can. Taste the spices, feel the silk, watch the calm, beautiful faces. It is the sunset of a world, and the sunset is always the most beautiful and the most heartbreaking time of day. The noise of the market has faded into a memory. The scent of the spices and the hum of the philosophical debates are behind us now. We have crossed the outer rings of water and land, moving deeper and deeper into the bullseye of the city. Now we stand at the final threshold. Before us lies the innermost circle of water. It is not wide, perhaps only the length of a single stadium, but the water here is different. It is still, so still that it looks like a sheet of black glass poured over the earth to seal away the underworld. There is no ripple here, no wind disturbs this sacred moat. It is a mirror that reflects the terrifying grandeur of what stands on the central island. We are about to enter the forbidden circle. This is the citadel. This is the Acropolis of the Atlantean kings. For the common citizen, the potter, the sailor, the weaver, this place is a mystery. They see its golden pinnacles shining above the walls. They see the glow of the orichalcum barrier lighting up the night sky, but they never set foot on these stones. But we are ghosts in this memory. We can walk where the living cannot. Cross the final bridge. It is short, made of the red stone that symbolizes the blood of the earth. The guards here do not stop us. They stand like statues of bronze, their eyes fixed on the horizon, guarding the sanctity of the gods. Step off the bridge and onto the soil of the central island. The air here is thinner. It feels electrically charged, as if a storm is constantly on the verge of breaking, yet the sky remains clear. There is a vibration in the ground, a low, resonant hum that travels up through the soles of your feet and settles in the base of your spine. It is the heartbeat of the volcano that sleeps far beneath us. It is the power of the earth itself, harnessed and held in check by the weight of the temple. We are standing in the sanctuary. The silence is absolute. It is not the silence of emptiness, but the silence of held breath, the silence of awe. Ahead of us rises the house of the ancestors, the temple of Poseidon and Cleito. It is difficult for the modern mind to comprehend the scale of it. We are used to cathedrals that reach for the sky with delicate, lace-like stone. But this temple does not reach. It sits. It dominates. It is a mountain of architecture, squat and powerful, rooted deeply in the rock. And it is not made of bare stone. The ancients did not believe that raw rock was fit for the gods. The entire exterior of the temple, every inch of the massive walls, is coated in silver. Close your eyes and visualize it. A building the size of a city block, wrapped in beaten sheets of pure silver. It is blinding. Under the high sun, it burns with a white, cold fire. It reflects the blue of the sky and the clouds that drift overhead, so that the temple seems to shift and change with the heavens. It is a mirror of the cosmos, but it is twilight now in our journey. The sun is low, and in this light the silver takes on a pearlescent quality. It glows with a soft, moon-like luminescence. It looks wet, like the scales of a great fish surfacing from the deep. Look up. High above the silver walls, the pinnacles of the roof pierce the air. They are made of gold, heavy, solid gold that catches the last dying rays of the sun. The contrast is striking. The cool lunar white of the silver walls and the warm solar fire of the gold roof. It is the marriage of night and day. It is the union of the sea and the sun. Approach the entrance. The doors are open, for the gods need no locks. The doors are made of orichalcum. They glow with that strange fiery redness, casting a warm path of light onto the silver steps. We cross the threshold. The transition is physical. The temperature drops instantly. The air inside the temple has been trapped here for centuries. It is cool, dry, and smells of old metal and cedar wood. It smells of eternity. The interior is vast. The ceiling is lost in the shadows high above, a vaulted expanse of ivory. Yes, ivory. The tusks of 1,000 elephants were harvested to create this roof, pinned with gold and silver nails. It looks like the rib cage of a leviathan. Your footsteps echo on the floor. Click, click, click. The floor is a map. It is a mosaic of precious stones swirling in patterns that mimic the currents of the ocean. Lapis lazuli for the deep water, turquoise for the shallows, malachite for the kelp forests. You are walking on a map of the entire world as they knew it, and there, dominating the centre of the nave, is the statue. It is Poseidon, but not the bearded, angry god of the Greek myths. This is an older, calmer deity. He stands in a chariot drawn by 6-winged horses. The sculpture is so large that the head of the god touches the ivory roof. He is made of gold. His body is golden. His trident is golden. The horses are golden. But it is the eyes that draw you in. They are set with stones that seem to possess an inner light. They look down at you with a terrifying indifference. It is the gaze of the ocean itself. It does not hate you. It does not love you. It simply is. Around the statue, the sea nymphs ride on dolphins. There are 100 of them, cast in bronze, swimming in a frozen circle around their lord. The sheer amount of wealth in this room is suffocating. Gold, silver, ivory, bronze. It is a hoard that could buy the rest of the world a dozen times over. But here, it is not currency. It is decoration. It is an offering. Walk past the golden god. Move deeper into the shadows behind the chariot. There is something else here. Something far more important than the gold statues or the silver walls. Standing alone in the center of the sacred space is a pillar. It reaches from the floor to the ceiling. It is not made of stone. It is not made of gold. It is made of solid orichalcum. This is the pillar of the laws. This is the soul of Atlantis. The metal is warm to the touch. Place your hand against it. You can feel a faint vibration, a hum that resonates with the hum of the earth outside. The surface is smooth, polished by the hands of the 10 kings who have gathered here for generations. But it is not empty. The entire surface of the pillar is covered in writing. Lean in close. The light is dim here, filtered through the high windows, but the orichalcum glows with its own faint amber light, illuminating the text. These are not the letters of the Greek alphabet. They are not hieroglyphs. They are the characters of the first language. They are angular, sharp, carved deep into the metal. They look like constellations trapped in the copper. These are the laws handed down by Poseidon himself to his firstborn son, Atlas. Run your finger along the grooves of the letters. You can feel the intent behind them. The carving is precise. There is no error here, no correction. Read the history etched into the metal. It begins with the genealogy, the lineage of the kings. It lists the names of the first 10 sons, the twins born of the earth and the sea, Atlas, Gaderus, Ampheres, Evaemon. The names roll off the tongue like the sound of waves crashing on the shore. Below the names are the laws of dominion. The text speaks of the absolute authority of the kings over their own islands. It speaks of the autonomy of the 10 provinces. But then the text changes. The grooves become deeper. The warnings become starker. Thou shalt not take up arms against one another. This is the great commandment. The 10 kings are brothers. Their lands are separate, but their blood is one. If any city attacks another, all must rise to defend the victim. The pillar outlines the structure of the alliance. It details the gathering that must happen here, in this temple, every 5th and 6th year, an alternation between the odd and the even, to honour both the solar and the lunar cycles. Imagine the scene. The 10 kings descending from their thrones, entering this silent silver room. They stand alone, without their guards, without their advisors. Just 10 men, brothers in blood, standing in the shadow of the golden god, reading the words on this pillar. They are stripped of their worldly power here. Here, they are just the grandsons of the ocean. Read further down the column. The script becomes smaller, more intricate. These are the laws of judgment, the rules for how to punish a king who has strayed. The power of life and death over their kin is granted only by the majority of the 10. There is a heaviness to these words. You can feel the burden of them. The laws are not about commerce or taxes. They are about harmony. They are a desperate attempt to impose order on the chaos of human ambition. They are a binding contract written in metal that cannot be erased. But as you trace the lines near the bottom of the pillar, you notice something unsettling. The metal here is darker. It is stained. It is a subtle discoloration, a shadowing of the bright copper alloy. This is where the sacrifice is made. The legends tell us that before the kings could sit in judgment, they had to hunt a bull in the precinct of the temple. Alone, with only wooden staves and no iron weapons, they had to capture the beast and bring it here, to this pillar. The blood of the bull was allowed to flow over the inscriptions. It was a ritual of cleansing, a ritual of connecting the laws to the vitality of life. The stain on the pillar is the memory of that blood. It is the residue of thousands of years of ritual. Standing here, in the quiet dark, you can almost smell it. The copper scent of the blood mixing with the metallic scent of the orichalcum. The smell of sweat and fear and solemn duty. It is a visceral reminder that even in this city of high philosophy and silver walls, the roots of their power are primal. The laws are written in metal, but they are sealed in blood. Step back from the pillar. Look at it in its entirety. It glows softly in the gloom, a beacon of order in the darkness. It is beautiful, and it is terrifying. It stands as a testament to the belief that if we just write the rules down clearly enough, if we just carve them into metal hard enough, we can prevent our own destruction. The silence of the temple presses in on you. The golden horses of Poseidon watch you from above. The ivory ribs of the roof curve over you like the sky. You feel small here. You feel like a momentary speck of dust in the face of deep time. The pillar will stand. That is what the architecture tells you. The silver will not tarnish. The gold will not fade. The laws will not be broken. But we know the end of the story. We know that even orichalcum cannot hold back the weight of water. We know that the laws were forgotten. We know that the brotherhood of the 10 kings fractured. The pillar stands here in the memory, perfect and whole. But it is a tombstone. It marks the place where the dream began to curdle. It marks the spot where the burden of perfection became too heavy for human shoulders to bear. Turn away from the pillar now. Walk back towards the fiery glow of the doors. Your footsteps echo again. Click, click, click. Leaving the presence of the god, leaving the heavy, judgmental silence of the sanctuary. As you step back out into the twilight, the air hits you. It feels warm and thick after the cool dryness of the temple. The sounds of the city drift back to you, the distant call of a bird, the faint lap of water. The silver walls behind you reflect the first stars appearing in the indigo sky. The temple is closed, the secret is kept, but the whisper of the laws remains in your mind, carved in metal, stained in blood, waiting for the ocean to come and wash it all clean. The day has been long, we have travelled far, from the open ocean to the silent temple. We have walked the rings of stone and stood in the shadow of the elephants. But now the great wheel of the sky is turning. The sun, which has beaten down on the white limestone and the black basalt all day, begins to tire. It hangs low in the western sky, a heavy, swollen fruit ready to drop from the branch. It is time for the golden hour. This is the moment when the world holds its breath. The sharp, harsh lines of high noon soften. The clarity of the afternoon fades into something more dreamlike, something more fragile. Come with me to the highest rampart of the outer wall. Let us stand here, facing west, facing the vast, open Atlantic. The show is about to begin. The sky above us transforms. The deep, infinite blue begins to bleach out, fading to a pale, washed-out azure, and then the colours of the fire begin to bleed in. First comes the gold. It is not a metallic gold, but a liquid one. It pours across the clouds, catching their underbellies and setting them alight. The light hits the water and shatters the surface of the ocean, which was a flat pane of glass, becomes a texture of hammered copper. Every wave, every ripple catches a spark of the dying sun. Then comes the orange, a deep burnt tangerine that stains the horizon. It spreads upwards, fighting the encroaching blue of the night. And finally, the purple, the royal colour, the colour of bruises and of kings. It seeps into the eastern sky behind us and chases the sun into the sea. Look back at the city. Look at how the light changes the face of Atlantis. The white stone of the buildings is no longer blinding white. It blushes. It turns a soft, dusty rose colour. The red stone, the stone of blood and iron, glows with an inner intensity, as if it is remembering the heat of the volcano. And the black stone drinks the shadows. It becomes voids of pure darkness, anchoring the city to the earth. The orichalcum wall, the great ring of metal that guards the citadel, reacts to the sunset in a way that defies physics. It does not. Just reflect the light. It seems to harmonize with it. As the sun turns red, the metal turns red. It pulses. It looks like a ribbon of molten lava cooling in the twilight. The shadows stretch out. They are long, thin fingers reaching across the plazas and the canals. They distort the shapes of the world. A small garden statue casts a shadow 50 feet long. The masts of the ships in the harbour cast lines that look like the bars of a cage across the water. The sun touches the water. This is the most hypnotic moment. The bottom edge of the sun kisses the horizon line. There is a visual connection between the fire of the sky and the water of the deep. It looks as though the ocean is extinguishing the sun. You can almost hear it. A phantom sound. A giant cosmic hiss as the heat meets the cold. Down, down it goes. The disk of the sun sinks lower. It becomes a semicircle, then a sliver, then a single blinding spark of green light. The green flash, and then it is gone. The king of the sky has departed. The afterglow remains, a bruise of magenta and violet fading into the grey of the coming night. The air cools instantly. You can feel it on your skin. The warmth of the day evaporates, replaced by the damp, salty chill of the ocean. A hush falls over the city. The birds have stopped singing. The noise of the harbour has ceased. The elephants in the gardens have settled into the shadows. But the city does not give in to the dark. We are humans. We have always feared the night. And so, we have always fought it with fire. Watch. Down below, in the narrow streets of the outer ring, a light appears. A single tiny point of warm yellow light. Then another, and another. It is the hour of the lighting. The lamplighters are moving through the city. They are shadowy figures carrying long poles tipped with wax. They move with a practiced rhythm. They reach up to the iron brackets hanging from the corners of the buildings. Inside the glass housings there are reservoirs of oil. Whale oil brought from the north. Olive oil pressed from the groves of the east. It is thick and golden. A cotton wick floats in the centre. The lamplighter touches his flame to the wick. A small flare. The flame catches. It dances for a moment, unsure, before settling into a steady teardrop shape. The light it casts is not the harsh, revealing light of the sun. It is a cosy light, a domestic light. It is the colour of amber and honey. It creates a circle of warmth in the blue twilight. This scene repeats 1,000 times across the concentric rings. Watch the windows of the houses. The shutters are pulled closed, but the light leaks through the slats. You can see the flicker of hearth fires being stoked. You can imagine the families gathering inside. The smell of the city changes. The scent of salt and stone is overlaid with the smell of wood smoke. It is a primal scent. It triggers a deep memory in your brain. The memory of the cave. The memory of the tribe gathering around the fire for safety. The smoke rises in thin grey columns, drifting straight up in the still air until it hits the cooling currents above and dissipates. The transition is complete. The geometry of the city has changed. It is no longer defined by the sun and the shadows. It is defined by these constellations of man-made stars. The rings of land are now necklaces of light. The canals are ribbons of black silk, reflecting the lanterns in wavering lines of gold. It feels intimate. The vast, terrifying scale of the empire shrinks down to the size of a room, a table, a flame. Walk with me now, through the darkening streets. The cobblestones are cooling under your feet. The air is fresh. Pass a tavern. The door is open. Warm light spills out onto the street. You can hear low laughter, the clinking of cups, a stringed instrument being tuned. It is the sound of comfort. Pass a house. Through the window, you see a mother combing her daughter's hair by the light of an oil lamp. The scene is framed like a painting. It is quiet. It is banal. It is beautiful. And this is where the melancholy sets in, because we are watching a ghost, standing here in the cosy glow of the evening, smelling the wood smoke and the sea. It is impossible not to feel the weight of what is coming. Sunset is a metaphor that nature forces us to watch every single day. It is a rehearsal for the end. Every day must die. The sun must always set. The light must always give way to the dark. The Atlanteans, in their wisdom, understood the cycles of the stars. They understood the mathematics of the tides. But did they understand that their civilization was also a day? Did they feel the chill in the air? Did they look at the sun sinking into the Atlantic and wonder if one day it would not rise again? Probably not. They were comfortable. They were safe behind their walls of orichalcum. They had their warm baths and their soft linen. They had their lanterns to push back the night. They believed, as we all do, that the golden hour would last forever. We always think we have more time. We think the sun will hang there just above the horizon, painting the world in purple and gold for as long as we want it to. But time is a current. It flows one way, and it flows relentlessly. The lanterns flicker in the breeze. A sudden gust from the ocean makes the flames dance. Shadows jump and twist on the walls. For a second, the city looks fragile. The stone looks brittle. The light looks weak against the encroaching vastness of the Atlantic night. All of this beauty, all of this order, all of this warmth, it is just a moment, a brief, shining spark in the long, dark history of the earth. The golden hour is the most beautiful hour because it is the most fleeting. We love it because we are losing it. We watch the purple fade to black. We watch the stars emerge, cold and indifferent, in the dome of the sky. The city of Atlantis settles in for the night. The people go to sleep, trusting that the dawn will come. But we, the watchers from the future, we look at the lights reflecting in the dark water of the harbour, and we feel a lump in our throats, because we know that the long night is coming. We know that the ocean is waiting. But for now, just for this moment, let the lantern light warm your face. Let the smell of the wood smoke comfort you. The city is still here. The memory is still alive. The sun has set. The stars are out. Rest now. The darkness is not something to fear. It is just another kind of blanket. Close your eyes and listen to the silence of the night. The night has deepened. The cozy glow of the lanterns we watched earlier has settled into a steady vigil. The city sleeps under the quilt of stars. But you are awake, and I am awake. And something has changed. It is not a sound, at least not yet. It is a feeling. It begins in the inner ear, a sudden sharp fullness, a pressure that pushes from the inside out. You swallow to clear it, but the pressure remains. It feels as though the sky has lowered itself. It feels as though the miles of atmosphere above us have suddenly become made of lead. The air in the streets, which was fresh and smelling of wood smoke only an hour ago, has turned thick. It is heavy. It resists you. When you move your hand through it, you can almost feel the drag, as if you are walking through water. The static electricity rises. The hair on your arms stands up, prickling with a nervous energy. If you were to touch the tip of your finger to a metal door handle now, a blue spark would jump, snapping in the silence. The smell changes too. The wood smoke is pressed down, flattened against the cobblestones. It is replaced by a new scent, a sharp, metallic tang. It tastes like copper pennies on the tongue. It smells of ozone and deep, disturbed mud. It is the smell of the ocean floor churned up and brought to the surface. The animals know first. They always do. In the courtyards, the dogs are not barking. They are whining, a low, pathetic sound. They are pacing in circles, unable to lie down, their claws clicking nervously on the stone. The birds in the arboretum, the ones that usually sleep with their heads tucked under their wings, are awake. They are shifting on their perches. Their feathers are puffed out. They are silent, but their eyes are wide, reflecting the lantern light. Even the insects have stopped their nightly chorus. The crickets, the cicadas, the night beetles, they have all gone quiet. This silence is different from the peaceful silence of the sunset. This is a heavy silence. It is a vacuum. It sucks the sound out of the air. Walk with me back to the water's edge. We must see what the ocean is doing. The journey to the outer ring feels longer now. The gravity seems to have increased. Every step requires effort. Your heart beats a little faster, a thudding rhythm against your ribs that matches the heaviness in the air. We reach the seawall. We look out into the dark. The Atlantic is no longer a sheet of glass. The mirror is broken. There is no wind. That is the most unsettling part. The air is dead calm. The flags on the watchtowers hang limp. The smoke rises in straight lines. But the water is moving. It is heaving. Great, long swells are rolling in from the deep darkness. They are not the choppy, wind-driven waves of a surface storm. These are monsters from the abyss. They are miles long. They are mountains of water moving under the skin of the ocean. Watch the horizon. It obscures the stars. A black line rises up, blotting out the constellation of Orion, then lowers again, up and down. It is the chest of a sleeping giant beginning to hyperventilate. The sound has changed. Earlier, the water lapped against the stone. Slap, slap. Now, it booms. Thud, a deep bass note that you feel in your teeth. It vibrates through the limestone of the sea wall. It shakes the dust from the cracks in the mortar. Thud. The interval is long. 20 seconds between each impact. It is a slow, methodical hammering. The ocean is testing the door. It is knocking. Look closely at the water level. With each swell it climbs a little higher. The barnacles that are usually dry at high tide are now submerged. The green algae that marks the waterline is drowning. The water is dark, oily, and thick. It swirls with a strange luminescence. The plankton are agitated. Where the waves break against the outer ring, they flash with a ghostly green light. It looks like the water is charged with electricity. A wave washes over the lower dock. It does not crash. It surges. It flows over the stone like a fast-moving river, swirling around the base of the cranes, lifting the crates that were left there. Then it recedes, dragging the debris back into the dark with a sucking sound. Hiss! The ocean is hungry. Turn around. Look back at the city. The lights are coming on. The sleep of the Atlanteans has been broken. They have felt the pressure drop. They have heard the boom of the swells. But look at their reaction. In a modern city there would be sirens. There would be panic. People would be running, screaming, trampling each other in a desperate bid to escape. Cars would clog the highways. Phones would light up the networks. But this is Atlantis. This is a society of deep wisdom. They do not panic. They prepare. There is a solemnity to the movement in the streets. Doors open quietly. Families step out wrapped in their sleeping robes. They look up at the sky. They look towards the sound of the ocean. They know. Deep in their genetic memory, they have always known that this day would come. You cannot build a paradise on the edge of the world and expect it to last forever. They have lived on borrowed time, and the bill has finally come due. Watch the priestess in the temple of the outer ring. She does not run. She moves with deliberate grace. She lights the incense. She pours a libation of wine onto the altar steps. Her hands do not shake. She is accepting the inevitable. There is a beauty in this acceptance. It is the absence of denial. They do not rage against the dying of the light. They turn to face it. In the houses, people are gathering their most precious things, but they are not gathering gold. They are not gathering jewels. A father picks up his sleeping child. He wraps her in a warm blanket of wool. He kisses her forehead. That is his treasure. A woman picks up a scroll of poetry. An old man picks up a musical instrument carved from olive wood. They are gathering the things that define their souls, not their wealth. The bells begin to toll. Not a frantic alarm, but a slow, deep, rhythmic tolling. Dong, dong. It is a funeral march for a city that is still alive. The people begin to move towards the center. They are drawn to the high ground. They are drawn to the temple of Poseidon. But they do not push. They walk hand in hand. They speak in low whispers. The sea is coming, they say. The cycle is ending, they say. There is a look in their eyes. It is a look of profound sadness, yes, but also a look of recognition. They are looking at the ocean not as a murderer, but as a mother calling them home. They came from the water, and now they return to the water. The atmosphere in the city shifts from comfort to a sacred tragedy. The lanterns still burn warm and yellow, but now they feel like vigil candles. The air is so heavy now, it is hard to breathe. The pressure builds behind your eyes. The ground beneath your feet gives a sudden shudder, a tremor. The black and white stones grind together. A crack appears in the pavement, running like a jagged lightning bolt down the street. Nobody screams. They just stop. They look at the crack. They step over it, and they keep walking. It is the dignity of the end. They are the children of the gods. They will not die like animals. They will die like kings. The sound of the ocean grows louder. The boom of the waves is becoming a roar. The spray from the outer ring is being thrown high into the air, misting the city in a fine, salty rain. Taste the salt on your lips. It is the taste of tears. The wind begins to pick up. It shifts direction. It was blowing from the land, warm and dry. Now it turns. It blows from the sea. It is a cold wind, a wet wind. It howls through the rigging of the silent ships in the harbour. It whistles through the orichalcum gates. The candles flicker. Some are blown out. The city darkens, light by light. But the people keep moving, a river of white robes flowing towards the centre. They are walking into the memory. They are walking into the legend. Stand here in the darkening street and feel the weight of their resignation. It is a heavy thing to know the end is here, to look at your home, your garden, your child, and know that tomorrow it will all be water. But there is peace in it too, the peace of the final surrender. The fight is over, the struggle is done, the ocean is rising, and Atlantis is ready to receive it. Take a deep breath of the heavy electric air. Hold it and let it go. The waiting is over. Do not close your eyes now. We have watched the sun set. We have felt the air grow heavy. We have heard the warning bell. Now we must witness the transformation. It begins not with a crash, but with a caress. The violence of the earthquake has passed, leaving a strange, trembling stillness in the bedrock. The roaring of the waves has quieted to a steady, relentless surge. Look at the harbour. The water is no longer held back by the stone quay. It has breached the line. It spills over the edge of the docks. smooth and dark like spilled ink. It does not rush, it flows. Listen to the sound of it. This is the ASMR of the end. Burble, gurgle, lap. It finds the lowest points first. It fills the gutters. It swirls around the wooden pilings of the piers, rising inch by inch. Watch the dry, sun-bleached wood of the dock turn dark as the water claims it. The water soaks into the grain. It is a thirsty sound, a soft st of absorption. The crates of spices that were left behind are lifted gently. They bob on the rising tide. A box of cinnamon floats away, turning slowly in the current. A barrel of wine rolls lazily on the water's surface, bumping softly against a stone wall. Thud, splash. The water is cold. It creeps over the warm cobblestones of the lower ring. You can see the steam rising where the two temperatures meet. A low mist begins to curl around the ankles of the statues. It is a hypnotic invasion. There is no screaming now. The city is holding its breath. The only sound is the water. It climbs the stairs. Watch it ascend the stone steps leading from the harbour to the first street. It takes one step, then another. It pauses, swirling, gathering its strength, and then takes a third. It enters the workshops of the potters. It flows over the threshold, cooling the clay that was left on the wheel. It fills the vases that were waiting to be fired. It silences the room. It enters the bakeries. The ovens are still warm, but the floor is a lake. The water hisses as it touches the hot bricks of the hearth. We are watching the ocean reclaim its property. And now, the lights. This is the most heartbreaking part of the spectacle. The city is still illuminated. The lanterns we saw lit earlier are still burning, casting their cosy amber glow against the rising dark. But the water is rising to meet them. Look at the street lamps on the outer ring. The water rises up the iron poles. It swallows the base. It swallows the decorative scrollwork. It reaches the glass housing. For a moment there is a struggle. The fire inside the glass burns brighter, fighting the cold. It casts a frantic, dancing light onto the chaotic surface of the water. And then, hiss! A sharp, extinguishing breath. Foot! The light goes out. A puff of grey smoke rises from the dead lamp, drifting up into the night. Then the next one. Hiss! Foot! And the next. It is a domino effect of darkness, a wave of shadow sweeping around the circumference of the city. Watch the windows of the houses. The water rises past the sills. It pours into the rooms. The candles on the tables flicker and die. The hearth fires are drowned. The warm squares of yellow light blink out one by one, leaving only the black facade of the stone. It is quiet work. There is no drama in a candle going out, just a small tragedy repeated 1,000 times. The outer ring is dark now. It is just a shape in the moonlight. The water crosses the bridge. It flows into the canal. It rises against the second ring. The darkness spirals inward. It is closing in on the centre. It is closing in on the orichalcum wall. But here is the secret. Here is the thing that the legends got wrong. The city does not break apart. The walls do not crumble. The towers do not topple. Atlantis is built too well for that. The stone is too strong. The geometry is too perfect. Instead, the island sinks. It is a geological elevator. The magma chamber beneath the volcano has emptied, and the roof of the world is collapsing into the void. But it collapses smoothly. It descends with a terrifying, majestic dignity. feel the sensation of it. If you were standing on the central citadel, you would not feel a violent shaking. You would feel a drop in your stomach, the sensation of a fast elevator going down. Drop. You are weightless for a second. The horizon line moves. Look up. The stars are not moving. The moon is steady. But the horizon, the line where the sea meets the sky, it is rising. It rises above the harbour walls. It rises above the rooftops. It rises above the trees of the arboretum. The ocean is not crashing down on us. We are bowing down to the ocean. The perspective shifts. We are no longer looking down at the water. We are looking eye to eye with it. The great waves of the Atlantic are now rolling at the level of the temple roofs. Watch the temple of Poseidon. The silver walls are glowing in the moonlight. The golden pinnacles are shining. The water touches the base of the temple. It flows over the mosaic floor. It swirls around the feet of the golden horses. The orichalcum pillar, the one with the laws carved into it. The water touches it. It cools the metal. It washes away the stain of the blood sacrifice. It climbs the letters, erasing the history line by line. And then, the final submersion. The water rises over the roof of the temple. The golden pinnacles slice into the surface of the sea. They cut the water like knives, and then they slip under. The surface closes over the city. The waves roll together, meeting in the centre, clapping softly. Splash. The wound in the ocean heals instantly. There is no whirlpool. There is no sucking void. There is just the ocean, flat and vast and indifferent. But we are not up there. We are down here. We have gone down with the city. Open your eyes in the underwater dark. It is silent now. The roaring of the wind is gone. The sound of the waves is gone. There is only the heavy, muffling pressure of the deep. Look around. The city is still here. The street lamps are dark, yes, but the buildings are standing. The bridges are intact. The statues are still watching. It is a ghost city suspended in the blue gloom. The moonlight filters down from the surface, casting rippling patterns on the wet stone. It looks like a dream. The water acts as a lens, distorting the shapes, making the towers look like they are swaying. Bubbles rise from the streets, silver spheres of air escaping from the pockets of the buildings. They wobble upwards, racing for the surface, carrying the last breath of the civilization. Bloop, bloop. A chair floats gently out of a window, turning slowly in the current. A silk scarf drifts by, undulating like a jellyfish. It is peaceful. It is horrifyingly peaceful. The panic is over. The struggle is done. The transition is complete. Atlantis has become a memory. The ocean holds it now. The pressure embraces it. The salt preserves it. It sinks lower, down into the crushing dark where the light cannot reach, down to the bottom of the Atlantic Trench. The elevator stops. The city settles into the silt. A soft cloud of dust rises up around the base of the walls, then settles again. Silence. Absolute, eternal silence. The fish will come soon. The coral will grow on the silver walls. The sharks will swim through the arches of the gates. But for now, it is just the stone and the water. The laws are drowned. The gold is hidden. The library of whispers is closed. Rest now, Atlantis. Sleep in the deep. Your story is safe with the ocean. The descent is over. The great elevator of the earth has reached the ground floor. The dust raised by the impact has settled, drifting down like a slow underwater snow, covering the streets in a fine grey powder. Now there is only the stillness. We are miles beneath the surface. The storm that may be raging up above, the waves crashing, the wind howling, none of that exists here. That world is a distant dream. Down here in the crushing dark, there is only the eternal heavy silence of the deep. It is a silence so thick you can feel it against your skin. It presses in on the eardrums, a physical weight that muffles not just sound but thought. It is the silence of a cathedral after the doors have been locked for the night. It is the silence of a library where the books have never been opened. The light here is not the light of the sun. The sun is a memory. The light here is different. It is a faint ambient gloom, a midnight blue that borders on absolute black. It is the colour of sleep. Let your eyes adjust to the darkness. Let your pupils dilate until they take in the faint, ghostly outlines of the city. Atlantis is resting. It sits upright on the ocean floor, proud and unbroken. The pressure of the water, enough to crush a submarine, presses equally on every side of the stone. The buildings do not crumble because they are open. The water fills. The rooms, the halls, the temples. It supports the walls from the inside as well as the out. The city has not been destroyed. It has been embraced. Walk through the streets one last time. But you are not walking now. You are floating. You are weightless, suspended in the amniotic fluid of the world. Your feet brush the tops of the cobblestones. You drift over the bridges like a spirit. The atmosphere is one of profound, paralyzed calm. Look at the currents. Down here the water moves slowly. It is sluggish, cold. It moves like syrup. It gently sways the seaweed that has begun to drift in from the wild ocean. It pushes a discarded silk robe through the water, making it dance a slow, mournful ballet in the middle of the plaza. There is no time here. The tick of the clock has no meaning in the abyss. A second, a year, a millennium, it is all the same to the stones, and into this frozen world life returns. But it is not the life of men. It is the dreamlike alien life of the deep. Watch the arches of the great aqueduct. Out of the gloom a shape emerges. It is a school of fish, but not the frantic, darting fish of the surface. These are deep-sea dwellers. They are translucent, their skeletons visible through their pale skin. They move in perfect unison, a single organism made of 1,000 parts. They swim through the archway. They do not know that this was once a triumph of engineering. To them, it is just a cave. It is just a shape in the dark. Watch them glide through the open window of a house. They circle the room where a family once ate their dinner. They swim over the table. Their fins brush against a clay jug that still stands there. It is a surreal juxtaposition. The domestic and the wild, the geometric and the organic. Something larger moves near the temple of Poseidon, a ray, a manta of the deep. It is massive, with a wingspan that rivals the width of the street. It is black on top, white underneath. It flies through the water, flapping its great wings in slow motion. Whoosh! It glides over the silver roof of the temple. It casts a shadow over the golden horses. It is the new god of this place, silent, graceful, ancient. And look at the lights. The lanterns are gone, drowned hours ago. But the ocean brings its own stars, bioluminescence, tiny creatures, microscopic plankton and small jellyfish drift through the streets. They pulse with a cold blue light. They cling to the sides of the buildings like living fairy lights. When a current disturbs them, they flare up. A wave of blue fire washes down the side of the Blackstone Tower. It illuminates the carvings for a fleeting second, revealing the history written there before fading back into the dark. The orichalcum wall still stands. In this blue, ghostly light, the red metal looks purple. It looks like a bruise on the ocean floor. It no longer glows with heat, but it reflects the sparkles of the life around it. It mirrors the galaxy of the deep. There is a sense of rightful ownership here. The ocean has taken back the land. It has covered the ambition of men with the patience of water. And as you drift through this underwater necropolis, you realize something important. You realize why we have come here. You feel a sense of safety. Up on the surface, things decay. The wind erodes the stone. The rain washes away the mortar. The sun bleaches the paint. Vines tear apart the walls. Roots crack the foundations. But here in the cold, oxygen-poor depths, decay is paused. The city is safe now. It is preserved in a state of suspended animation. The water holds it together. The silt covers it like a blanket, protecting it from the wear and tear of the ages. It is a fossil, a fly trapped in amber, a perfect moment locked in ice. There is a tremendous relief in this thought. The struggle to survive is over. The anxiety of maintaining the empire is gone. The fear of the future has vanished. There is no future here. There is only the endless, peaceful now. Atlantis has entered the realm of memory. It has become a story. And stories cannot be destroyed by earthquakes. Stories cannot be drowned. Let yourself sink into this feeling, the feeling of absolute final safety. Imagine that you are lying down on the soft sand of the market square. The water presses down on you, heavy and comforting. It is a weighted blanket that covers the entire world. The sounds of the world are gone. The voices are gone. The demands are gone. There is only the slow beat of your own heart, echoing in the water. Thump, thump. And the silence. Look up one last time towards the surface. It is miles away. You cannot see the sun. You cannot see the moon. You are hidden. You are secret. You are resting in the sanctuary of the whispers. The fish swim silently above you. The bioluminescence twinkles like a lullaby. The silver walls stand guard in the gloom. Let go. Let go of the need to hold the city up. The ocean has it now. Let go of the fear of the fall. You have already landed. Let go of the day. It is time to sleep. To sleep the deep, dreamless sleep of the stones. Drift away into the blue. Drift away into the memory. The city is safe. Good night, Atlantis. And so the waters calm, and the great spires vanish into the deep blue, lost to history. We gently close the book, tracing the gold lettering one last time, and the library is quiet once more. You can rest now. The tragedy is just a story, and you are safe, warm, and protected here by the fire. There is nothing left to do, nowhere else you need to be. If you enjoyed this time away from the world, leave a like or subscribe. so we may keep a place for you by the fire tomorrow night. But for now, let the darkness hold you. Sleep, deep, peaceful sleep. Good night.